This is Aaron Gordon. He's on the tour bus after winning the final series against the Miami Heat. See the shoes around his neck? Those are from a Chinese shoe brand called 361 Degrees, which signed a multi-year deal with Aaron this past season. This is Spencer Dinwiddie, also on his tour to China during this offseason. In recent years, there is an obvious trend that Chinese shoe brands are spending a lot of money signing NBA players, from relatively young players to some major stars of popular franchises. Hi everyone, this is Patrick. In this video, we'll take a closer look at those NBA players who have a shoe deal, especially a signature shoe deal with Chinese brands. Back in 2012, a groundbreaking deal between Chinese sports brand Li-Ning and the Miami Heat star Dwyane Wade brought huge success to both parties. Similar to Jordan's deal with Nike, Li-Ning also gave Wade his own brand, Way of Wade. So far, both parties have worked on 10 generations of Way of Wade, and this has been a solid success story for other Chinese brands to follow. In one episode of Brandon Marshall's podcast, I Am Athlete, players are actually talking about this deal and some other Chinese brands.
The Way of Wades. Bro, that's dope.
Is with
Fuck is he
Anta.
with? Who?
Anta.
The drink?
A few years ago, Anta secured some head-turning deals with players like Klay Thompson, Gordon Hayward, Alex Caruso, and very recently, in June, they actually signed Kyrie. After all these years, Chinese shoe brands have signed over a dozen active NBA players. This is an overview of those deals. After signing all these NBA players, some of you still may ask, so Chinese brands are becoming more popular, but why do we not see them in North American malls? So they signed all the players just to sell nothing? Well, not quite. They are not selling much here in North America, but they are selling a ton in China. A recent research shows Chinese fans are actually more involved in NBA topics than American fans. If I ask you what the most popular sport is in China, you might answer table tennis. But the fact is, basketball is the single most popular sport in China. And the most popular sports league? NBA. Although there have been some ups and downs with NBA's relationship with China, the fact that Chinese people just love basketball did not change. There is also a noticeable market shift happening in China. Big international companies are starting to lose grip on the Chinese market. Nike and Adidas have been the dominators in Chinese domestic market for a very long time. But recently, things started to change. They have seen some plateauing or even loss on Chinese market share. To kick things off, Anta became the big spender on the market, purchasing Italian brand Fila and American brand Wilson, making it a mega sports company. In 2021, a boycott over foreign brands in China erupted out of nowhere because of the Xinjiang cotton incident. It is alleged that Uyghur people are forced to pick cotton that supplies the global market. But Chinese people would naturally tell you the forced labor report in Xinjiang is a lie, and they will punish companies that play along with such lie. To make things even worse, international companies are falling behind on the new fashion trend in China, National Wave. This is a trend where young people are more willing to spend on nationalistic goods that represent their culture. In a Bloomberg report, young Chinese shoppers have demonstrated a strong buying power that can go either way. What Nikes and Adidas represent might not be so popular among young people. All these events have affected foreign companies so much that Anta suddenly saw a huge jump in market share. Li-Ning is also trying its best to catch up. Chinese brands saw a rare opportunity to break the dominance by Nike and Adidas, or even knock them out of Chinese market. So they are in an urgent need for new brand ambassadors. They need star athletes. The star athletes Chinese people know. The safest choice here is the basketball players Chinese people know. Now we know why Chinese brands need NBA players. We still need to explain why NBA players also need Chinese brands. To understand how American premium brands choose their players, we need to look at who they have shoe deals with. According to ESPN's Nick DiPaola, there were 225 NBA players with cash deals back in 2020, but only 18 have signature shoes. That's only 8% of all deals. Now let's look at the deals for Chinese brands. In the same list we saw earlier, 8 out of 16 players have their own signature shoes. That's a whopping 50%. Who would have ever thought Lakers' Austin Reeves could get a signature deal before D'Angelo? But that is happening. If we compare the players with premium brand deals and the Chinese brand deals on one graph, we can clearly see what kind of players these two groups are targeting, no matter from a salary perspective or a player performance perspective. Nike and Jordan players are way up here. In this range, we only find superstars. Down underneath is where we'll find everyone else. And this is the difference in strategies that Chinese brands are taking. They are signing signature deals with mid-class players and not pursuing superstars. Well, frankly speaking, it's hard to imagine a red-hot superstar to sign with a Chinese brand and not Jordan. At this point, we already know two things about Chinese brands. One, they like to give signature packages, letting players design and come up with their own shoes. Two, they like to target mid-class players. So if I were a mid-class NBA player and I want my own signature shoes, there seems to be a very obvious answer for who I can have this deal with. Remember we talked about Spencer Dinwiddie at the beginning of the video? Prior to signing with 361 Degrees, Dinwiddie actually had his own brand and shoes. He likes to design and have his own shoes. But unfortunately, he is likely not going to sign a signature deal with Nike, which makes 361 Degrees, a Chinese shoe brand, the perfect candidate for him. The relationships between NBA players and the shoe brands are very much like players and teams. Is a player so great that a team would tailor everything around him? Or he is just going to be a role player and follow whatever the coaches tell him to do? Brands such as Nike, Adidas, and Under Armour are giant teams, and they are extremely selective on who they would tailor their strategies for. Not everyone can get the star treatment from those brands, but an average player would have a very decent shot at experiencing this with the Chinese brand. I can totally see more players willing to sign with Chinese brands, and some of them are here to stay. Hey guys, thanks for watching the entire video. At this point, you liked something about the content, and if you want to see more of it, please follow the channel and then hit the like button. And I'll catch you in the next one.